Hi everyone, this is your realtor Nikki Ansons at Coldwell Banker Ackley. I'm here today with Nina Mills at HBI Tax to talk to you a little bit about FIRPTA. Hi Nina, thank you so much for joining us and giving us some information on FIRPTA.
So hi Nikki, thank you for having me today. I'm really excited to be a part of this. As you know, I've been with HBI for 10 years now, so I've had a lot of time to learn about FIRPTA. And one of my favorite things is to share what I've learned so that it can make FIRPTA just a little bit less scary and make the whole transaction easier for the buyers, the sellers, realtors, and title company as a whole.
So Nina, tell us exactly what does FIRPTA stand for and to whom does it apply?
So FIRPTA is the Foreign Investment and Real Property Tax Act, and it was generated in 1980 as a means for the IRS to tax non-residents when they sell their U.S. real property interests. So FIRPTA only applies if the seller in the transaction is a foreign national, meaning that they're not a U.S. resident or not a U.S. citizen or don't have U.S. residency through some other means, say asylum, visa status, what have you.
So Nina, could you explain to us exactly what is an ITIN number?
So an ITIN is an individual taxpayer identification number, and it is the tax number that is assigned to non-residents. Essentially, it's kind of like a social, but for non-residents. Now, what's kind of interesting about that is that non-residents who got tax numbers prior to the mid-90s actually got social security numbers. But now they are ITINs, and the point of that is to allow them to pay tax, but more importantly in terms of FIRPTA, it is to allow them to get a refund. Now, this becomes really important because when FIRPTA transactions are sent to the IRS, they're allocated by name and tax number. And this is why not only do the sellers have to get ITINs, but the buyers have to have a US tax number as well. So if the buyer happens to be a non-resident too, then they're going to have an ITIN as well.
So Nina, we've talked a lot about how FIRPTA affects sellers when they're dealing with their investment property, but what would you advise for someone who's looking to purchase a home here in the US in terms of their tax liabilities and getting off on the right foot?
I always tell my foreign investors that from the day they buy the house, they're actually preparing to sell it. And I know sometimes that's hard because you want to just enjoy your house and not think about the fact you're going to get rid of it. But the fact is that especially if you're renting it, there are things that you need to do. Now, to get an ITIN, they must have a reason. So if they're not intending to rent, they can kind of push that off unless they bought from another foreign national. But if they are going to be renting it, they're going to need an ITIN and they're going to need to file US income tax returns for every year that they earn rental income, regardless of how much they earn and regardless of whether they make money or not. So it's key for them to meet with an accountant that specializes in this right from day one so they can start off their ownership right.
So Nina, in your experience, what are the most common myths about FIRPTA?
So there's two. The first one is that FIRPTA is a tax. A lot of our foreign national investors think that that withholding amount is their end-all be-all payment to the IRS. That once that money is held, that it's going to the IRS, they're never getting it back. That is not true. It is only a withholding because even though FIRPTA is held on the gross sale price based on the contract, they only actually pay tax on their profit, which is a vastly different number. The other misconception that we have pertains to the buyer's affidavit where the sales price is less than $300,000 and the buyers plan on living in the property for more than 50% of the time. That is not an automatic exception from FIRPTA. The buyer must sign an affidavit in order to activate that. But if they do, it brings potential liability to them, so most don't. So I try to prepare the sellers for the fact that the buyer will not be signing that.
So that was just a general overview of FIRPTA, really helpfully from Nina. Of course, every case is different. Nina sees hundreds and hundreds of cases a year. Everyone is completely individual. And to make sure that you're doing things correctly and that you're correctly covered, you really need to have the expert advice of a specialist CPA. And of course, you can contact Nina at HBI for more help with that. And if you have buying or selling questions as an overseas investor, then of course I'm here to help and I'd be happy to help you. So thank you for joining us. And if you have other questions, please let us know.